The Commanders sale moves forward. July 20 is the date on which the owners will convene for the meeting at which at least 24 of them will surely vote in favor of moving on from Daniel Snyder and moving forward with Josh Harris as the owner of the team. The earlier report from Ben Fisher of Sports Business Journal as of last night was it was either going to be July 20 or August 8. They really wanted to get it done July 20. They want to get it done before camp opens. And I was told earlier this week that whether or not we see the Commanders as the hard knocks team, they're one of the 4 teams that can be quote unquote forced to do it, although no one's going to force anyone to do it if they don't want to do it. But my understanding is if the Commanders are asked to do it, they'll do it. They're not going to ask them to do it until the sale is finalized. Now, even then, it gets a little hairy. If you're going to tell the story of the Commanders fresh off the sale of Daniel Snyder, how do you avoid? How do you handle? How do you treat the Snyder exit? And look, they call it a reality show, but it's not a reality show. It's whatever reality the NFL and NFL Films and HBO choose to show us. It's edited. It's sanitized. They're not going to delve into the specific reasons why Daniel Snyder isn't there anymore, but I think they'd be content to just say he's gone. It's a new era. We're not going to look in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward. We've got a new owner. We've got a new beginning, a new era for the Commanders. And my understanding is they wanted to get this done, this sale concluded before they would consider selecting the Commanders either for preseason Hard Knocks or, remember, new tradition now, in-season Hard Knocks, with the Colts and the Cardinals as the 2 teams that have been the subject of that series. The Commanders could be the in-season Hard Knocks team if they are not the preseason Hard Knocks team. And the one last point here, this issue of the Josh Harris bid having to be massaged, having to be rectified as it relates to some of the financial specifics. As the values of these teams keep going up and up and up, it's going to be harder and harder to find individuals who can afford to write a check for 30% of the team. You got to show up for a $6 billion transaction. You got to show up with $1.8 billion in cash, a giant bag of money with $1.8 billion in it. No loans for that amount, no debt, no leveraging of this asset and that asset. You got to have $1.8 billion in cash, and there aren't many people who can show up with $1.8 billion. And for Harris, it took a little effort to make everything work the way it needs to work. As these franchise values go to 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, who's going to be the person who can buy 30% of the team right out of the gates? That's going to be a challenge for the NFL, and that's going to open the door to changes in the way that teams are owned. Private equity funds may be involved to some degree for an investment at some point. The NBA is now going to be considering that as the Qatar Investment Agency tries to purchase a piece of Monumental Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Washington Wizards. The NBA is going to have to cross that bridge. The NFL at some point, I think inevitably, is going to have to deal with that. And it all comes down to money. It always does. Whatever your beliefs are, whatever your position has been, whatever your rules are, if somebody shows up with enough cash, things will change very, very quickly. So I don't know who's next. The Seahawks will be sold at some point. There's no specific timeline for Jody Allen to sell that team. She will do so inevitably at some point after May of 2024, because that's the point at which an obligation to pay 10% of the proceeds to the state of Washington disappears forever. But there's no deadline. There's no process for forcing a sale at some point after that. They'll wait for the right moment. Look at the way franchises have appreciated. Last year, the record was $4.65 billion for the Broncos. Now $6 billion, new high water mark for the Commanders. What's it going to be next? And when will there be other owners who maybe weren't inclined to sell, who think maybe this is a good time to turn this asset into cash? Maybe this is a good time to cash out and walk away. And how many people are out there who can do it? Jeff Bezos is hovering. And I really do think at the end of the day, I think Jeff Bezos decided, if I'm going to buy an NFL team, why am I going to pay $6 billion for one of the fixer-uppers Why not pay a little bit more or a lot more for, a completed mansion where everything's fine, where I don't have to go in and play this stadium game and try to repair the damage that Daniel Snyder did? Why am I going to do that? Why not just buy one of the teams that already has their act together and maybe go make some owner who isn't inclined to sell an offer he won't refuse? So I don't know who's going to be next, but we've had 2 sell in consecutive years, and who knows? Who knows? Seahawks, who knows? Bezos wants a team, who knows? Big bag of money, 100% of it he'll be able to pay for without all of this getting partners and putting up prospectus together to try to lure people to invest. No, he'll just buy the whole damn thing. He won't have to worry about limited partners. He'll own 100% of it, and as it continues to appreciate, he enjoys 100% of that increase in his original investment.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.